Hello, doctor. We are group 16 from XIX1015. My name is Hong Yi, and these are our group members. Today, we will be presenting on sustainable housing and cooling solution for extreme heat waves across Asian countries. The Asian region is experiencing increasingly frequent and severe heat waves due to climate change. In recent years, several Asian countries have recorded temperatures exceeding 40 Celsius, posing serious risks to human health and safety. Although extreme heat affects all the populations, vulnerable communities are the most impacted. Many homes across Asian countries are built with zinc roofs, tin walls, and poor ventilations, which trap the heat indoors and cause indoors temperatures to rise higher than outdoor conditions, sometimes reaching up to 45 Celsius. Rapid urbanization has also intensified the urban heat island effect, where concrete and asphalt absorb and retain the heat, making cities significantly hotter than surrounding rural areas. To cope with these conditions, households increasingly depend on air conditioning, which raises electricity demand and carbon emissions, further worsening the climate change and further heat wave. Now let's look at where are the heat waves most served in Asia. Heatwaves in Asia mainly affect urban, rural, and industrial areas. Major cities such as Bangkok, Jakarta, and Manila experience extreme heat due to the urban heat island effect, where concrete buildings, roads, and heavy traffic that trap heat, making cities much more hotter than the surrounding areas. Now we got the farmlands and rural regions, including central Thailand and central Luzon in the Philippines, are also heavily affected, as people work long hours outdoors with limited access to shade or cooling. Construction sites and industrial zones also face high heat exposure, putting workers at significant risks due to long hours of outdoor and physical labor. Now let's look at who are the affected stakeholders. Firstly, the rural populations who living in traditional or temporary housing with poor ventilations. Moreover, outdoor workers such as farmers, street vendors, construction workers, and delivery riders who are directly exposed to extreme heat. We also got vulnerable groups that including elderly, children, pregnant women, and individuals with pre-existing health conditions. The urban poor, especially those living in the crowded neighborhoods without air conditions and reliable access to water. Lastly, the healthcare system, as hospital and clinic face increased cases of heat stroke, dehydration, and heat-related illness. Here we can see a graph that's showing the average temperature in Malaysia is rising year by year, indicating that heat waves are becoming more frequent and severe. Another graph highlights that heat-related deaths across Asia and showing countries in Southeast Asia are among the highest in the ranking. To address these increasing heat waves across Asian countries, sustainable housing and cooling solutions play a critical role in reducing heat exposure, energy use, and carbon emissions. This poster shows how a sustainable district cooling system works, which is an effective solution for cooling large urban areas during extreme heat. First, at the district cooling plant, seawater is chilled to low temperatures, usually between 4 to 7 degrees Celsius. This chilled water serves as the main cooling source. Next, the chilled water is distributed through underground pipes to multiple buildings, reducing the needs for the individual air conditioning system. Then, the energy transfer stations inside the buildings use this chilled water to cool the indoor air through the building's air conditioning system. Finally, after absorbing heat, the warmed water is returned to the district cooling plant, where it is cooled again and reused. Overall, district cooling systems are more energy efficient, reduce electricity demand, and lower the carbon emissions, making them a sustainable solution to protect urban communities from extreme heat waves. So now we will provide an overview of sustainable housing and cooling solution and explain who the key stakeholders are and how they can contribute to mitigating extreme heat waves across Asian countries. Extreme heat waves are becoming more frequent across ASEAN, placing growing pressure on housing, energy system, and public health. Sustainable housing and cooling solutions offer an effective way to reduce heat stress while lowering energy demand, but successful implementation requires collaboration among multiple stakeholders. First, industrial players, such as developers and energy companies, are responsible for designing and implementing solutions. This includes constructing climate-responsive housing, integrating district cooling system, and using heat reflective materials and also adopting energy efficient technologies. Second, the public and residents play the role of user and adopters. They can support sustainable housing initiative, practice energy efficient schooling at home, share heat wave information, and participate in community greening efforts that help reduce urban heat. So for the last one, policymakers and governments provide leadership and support. Their role is enforce the heat resilience building accords and offer incentives for green housing and cooling projects, and also invest in urban greening and strengthen the heat wave warning system, especially for vulnerable communities. So in conclusion, sustainable housing and cooling solutions can significantly reduce the impacts of extreme heat waves in Asia. However, real impact is achieved only when industry building, the public adopts and policymakers enable this solution in a coordinate manners. So this poster is about why the combination of sustainable housing and district cooling is such a powerful idea for our future. First and most importantly, this combination has a much lower environmental impact. Sustainable housing uses efficient design, renewable energy, and eco-friendly materials, which dramatically reduce the carbon emissions and waste. Because of this efficiency, it naturally leads to our second benefits, reduce the long-term cost. Lower energy and water consumption means significant saving on our utility bills and maintenance for everyone, from homeowners to city budgets. A key part of this efficiency comes from the third benefit, high energy efficiency in cooling. District cooling systems are centralized, making them far more efficient than individual air conditioners. This stresses the electricity demand and further cuts greenhouse gases emissions. Finally, when you put all these benefits together, you get our four major advantages. It supports climate resilient cities. This approach directly reduces the urban heat island effect, improves air quality, and promote the sustainable growth, making our cities more livable and prepared for the future. In summary, sustainable housing with district cooling is a win for everyone. It protects our environment, saves money, operates and smart efficiency, and builds stronger, healthier city for us all.
The key issue we are addressing is the high energy consumption and carbon emission caused by environmental housing and cooling systems, especially in rapid urbanizing cities. Traditional air conditioning systems consume a lot of electricity and contribute a significant amount to climate change. This issue affects urban residents, governments, and future generations, particularly in cities like Kuala Lumpur, where cooling demand is high due to the hot climate. To support this, our poster highlights real-world examples. The first example is Hammarby Sjöstad in Stockholm, Sweden. This is a planned eco-district that uses energy-efficient building, renewable energy, and integrated waste and water system. As a result, it significantly reduces environmental impact while still maintaining a high quality of life. The second example is KLCC District cooling in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Instead of each building using a separate air conditioning system, a centralized district cooling system supplies chill water to multiple buildings. Improves energy efficient, lower, lowers the carbon emission, and reduces operational costs. These examples are implemented by governments in terms of strategy to mitigate the issue. Policymakers can also support district cooling by providing incentives and setting green building regulations. Industry players can also invest in efficient technology while citizens can support and adopt sustainable housing solutions. In conclusion, sustainable housing and district cooling are practical and proven solutions to reduce environmental impact in cities. With cooperation between government, industries, and communities, cities can become more energy efficient and livable and sustainable. Thank you.
The ASEAN region is heating up faster and more dangerously than ever before. In 2024, several Asian countries recorded temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius, and the heat claimed lives, especially among those who had no safe place to escape. Across Southeast Asia, extreme heat waves are becoming more frequent due to climate change. Countries like Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Philippines experienced prolonged periods of scorching temperatures. While the heat impacts everyone, people living in slums, rural areas, and temporary shelters suffer the most. Many homes are built with zinc roofs, thin wooden walls, or improper ventilation, trapping heat like an oven. Inside these homes, indoor temperatures can rise to 45 degrees Celsius, even hotter than the air outside. Extreme heat increases the risk of heat exhaustion, dehydration, heat stroke, and can even be fatal. Children, the elderly, outdoor workers, and the people with chronic disease faces the highest risks. In our rapidly growing cities, we also face the urban heat island effect. Concrete and asphalt absorb heat during the day and release it at night, keeping cities up to 5 degrees hotter than surrounding rural areas. We are essentially living in concrete bubbles that never cool down. In search of relief, many households turn to air conditioners, but in ASEAN, buildings already account for 23% of the total energy consumption and carbon dioxide emission. And this number is projected to rise by at least 60% by 2030. Hotter climates means more air conditioning. More air conditioning means more electricity. More electricity often means more fossil fuels, and more fossil fuels means more heat waves. It's a dangerous cycle unless we change the way we build and cool our homes. Sustainability isn't a new invention. For centuries, traditional Asian architecture like the stilted house of Malaysia and Indonesia used high ceilings for rising hot air, large overhangs for shade, and raised floor for airflow. We are now learning to combine this ancient wisdom with modern technology.
What is sustainable housing? So, sustainable housing refers to homes that are designed, built, and operated in ways that reduce environmental impact, improve energy efficiency, and provide healthier living conditions for many people. It focuses on using eco-friendly materials, energy-efficient designs, and climate-resilient features so that the house stays comfortable while using less electricity and producing fewer carbon emissions. Many traditional homes are built with thin walls, metal roofs, and limited ventilation, which traps the heat during the extreme heat waves. Sustainable homes, however, are designed to reduce the heat absorption and improve airflow. While sustainable housing cools individual homes, how do we efficiently cool the intercities, campuses, or commercial districts? The answer lies in district cooling systems, one of the most efficient cooling technologies in the world. This system uses a centralized cooling plant that produces chilled water. Singapore is home to one of the largest and most advanced district cooling systems. At Marina Bay, the system cools over 20 buildings, saving up to 24,500 tons of carbon dioxide a year, and that's equivalent of removing thousands of cars from the road. Combining district cooling and sustainable housing, together, these systems can improve comfort, lower energy bills, reduce emissions, and protect vulnerable communities while the extreme heat waves.